I found the papers on my kitchen table on a Thursday morning in October, 10 weeks after the stroke that nearly killed me. My left hand still trembled when I reached for things. My speech was slow, careful, like I was translating every word from some foreign language before it left my mouth. But my mind was sharp, crystal clear. That's what made finding those documents so much worse. Property transfer deed, County Recorder's Office, Lucas County, Ohio. Grantor, Alma Rose Whitaker. Grantee, Charlotte Mills. Before we continue, comment where you're watching from and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to see how far our stories are reaching. My house. The house George and I bought in 1984 for $45,000. The house where we raised Charlie. The house where George died in my arms 5 years ago. The house worth $340,000 now, according to the property tax assessment that came last month. Transferred to my daughter. I sat down hard in the chair George built in 1987. My hand shook, but not from the stroke this time. I read the document 3 times. The signature looked like mine. The date was September 12, 2024. I was in the hospital on September 12th in the ICU, barely conscious, fighting to remember my own name. I heard Charlie's car in the driveway. She had a key. She'd insisted on keeping it after the stroke, just in case. She came over most mornings now, bringing groceries I didn't ask for, checking on me like I was a child who couldn't be trusted alone. The front door opened. "Mom? I brought bagels from that place you like." I stayed at the kitchen table, the deed in front of me. Charlie walked in, setting a paper bag on the counter. She was wearing her real estate blazer, the navy one with the gold buttons. Great Lakes Realty embroidered on the pocket. "Did you eat breakfast yet? I got you the everything bagel with..." She stopped when she saw my face. Her eyes dropped to the papers. For 3 seconds, maybe 4, I saw something flicker across her face. Fear. Then it was gone, replaced by something worse. She laughed. Not a nervous laugh, not an embarrassed laugh. A genuine, dismissive laugh, like she'd just heard a joke and I was the punchline. "Mom." She walked over, pulled out the chair across from me. "We talked about this. Don't you remember?" "I don't remember signing this." My voice came out steady despite everything. "I don't remember agreeing to give you my house. That's because of the stroke, Mom." She reached across the table like she was going to pat my hand. I pulled back. Her smile faltered. "You're not competent to own property anymore. We're protecting you. The doctor said you might have memory issues." This is exactly what he was talking about. "What doctor?" "Dr. Patterson, your neurologist. He explained everything to Derek and me. You signed the transfer at his office. You wanted to make sure the house was taken care of if something happened to you." I stared at my daughter. At this woman I'd carried for 9 months. This girl I'd raised alone after her father left when she was 6. This child I'd worked 3 jobs to put through college. "I was in the hospital on September 12th, I said slowly. "In a coma. They had me on a ventilator." Something flickered in her eyes again. "Mom, you're confused. The stroke affected your memory. That's why we did this. To protect you." The front door opened again. Derek. My son-in-law. 6 feet tall, expensive suit, mortgage broker smile. "Hey, Alma, how are you feeling today?" He walked straight to Charlie, kissed her cheek, then turned that smile on me. It didn't reach his eyes. "Charlie said you might be having a rough morning. She found the deed," Charlie said quietly. Derek's smile widened. He walked over, stood behind Charlie's chair, put both hands on her shoulders. Unified front. "Alma, I know this is confusing, but Charlie and we're just looking out for you. You're not well. You can't take care of this big house by yourself. What if you fall again? What if something happens and nobody's here? So you stole my house." "We didn't steal anything." His voice hardened, just a fraction. "You transferred it legally. You just don't remember because of the stroke. That's not our fault." I looked at him, really looked at him. The expensive watch, the designer shoes, the way his jaw tightened when I didn't immediately back down. "I want to call my lawyer," I said. "Of course." Derek smiled again. "That's a great idea. Martin can explain everything to you. In fact, why don't I call him right now?" He pulled out his phone, But I saw his thumb hesitate over the screen. He wasn't going to call Martin, he was going to call someone else. Tell them I was confused. Set up the next move in whatever game this was. My cell phone was upstairs, charging in my bedroom. I started to stand, using the table for balance. My left leg was still weak, but I could walk, slowly. Mom, where are you going? Charlie stood too, blocking my path. You need to rest. You're getting agitated. I'm going to call Martin myself. Let me help you upstairs. She reached for my arm. I jerked away, nearly lost my balance. Derek caught me, his hand heavy on my shoulder. Too heavy. He steadied me, but his fingers pressed down, holding me in place. Alma, he said, his voice low, meant only for me. You need to be careful. Stress isn't good for someone in your condition. Dr. Patterson was very clear about that. You don't want another stroke, do you? It wasn't a question. It was a threat. Charlie's phone rang. She glanced at the screen. It's Aunt Diana. Put her on speaker, Derek said. Charlie answered. Di? Hi. Yeah, we're at Mom's. Can I call you back? Is Alma okay? My sister's voice filled the kitchen. Tom and I have been so worried. She called me last night and she sounded so confused. She was talking about papers and houses and George. She didn't make any sense. I stared at the phone. I hadn't called Diana last night. I hadn't called anyone. She's having a difficult morning, Charlie said, her eyes on me. The doctor said this might happen. Memory issues, confusion. We're handling it. Poor thing, Diana said. Tell her we love her. And Charlie, honey, you're doing the right thing. Taking care of everything. I told Tom just yesterday, I said, thank God Alma has Charlie. Someone needs to make sure she doesn't do something dangerous. Derek smiled at me. See? Everyone understands. Everyone's on the same page. You're the only one who seems confused. I opened my mouth to speak. No words came. Because in that moment, I understood. This wasn't just Charlie. This wasn't just Derek. This was everyone. I made it to the stairs, using the banister, my left hand gripping tight. I could hear Charlie behind me. Mom, please, let me help you. You're going to hurt yourself. I didn't answer. I focused on each step. Right foot, left foot, right foot. The second floor hallway seemed longer than usual. My bedroom door was open. My phone was on the nightstand, plugged in. I unplugged it, sat on the bed George died in, and opened my banking app. My checking account looked normal, $3,247.83, but my savings account made my stomach drop. Balance, $127.66. There should have been $47,000 in that account. $47,000. Money George's life insurance left me. Money I'd been saving for exactly this kind of emergency. Money I'd been planning to use if I ever needed long-term care. Gone. All of it except $127.66. I heard footsteps on the stairs. Charlie and Derek coming up. I closed the banking app, opened my email. There had to be notifications. Alerts. Something. 17 unread emails from First National Bank of Toledo, all from the past 6 weeks, all with subject lines like large withdrawal confirmation and account update required. I'd never seen them. Someone had marked them as read. Someone had accessed my email. Charlie appeared in the doorway. Mom, I really think you should lie down. You're working yourself up over nothing. Where's my money? She bit her lip. What money? My savings account. $47,000. It's gone. Mom. She came in, sat on the bed next to me. You spent that money over the past year. You don't remember. The stroke? Stop blaming the stroke. My voice cracked. I had the stroke 10 weeks ago. The account shows withdrawals going back 6 months. You were having symptoms before the stroke. Mini strokes, remember? Dr. Patterson documented everything. You were making erratic financial decisions. That's why we stepped in. That's why we transferred the house. To protect you from yourself. Derek appeared behind her. Charlie, we should call Dr. Patterson. Get him to come over. Explain things to Alma again. That's a good idea. Charlie pulled out her phone. No. I stood up, my phone clutched in my shaking hand. Get out of my house. They looked at each other. Some silent communication passing between them. This is my house now, Mom, Charlie said softly. Legally. I'm sorry you don't remember, but that doesn't change the facts. And I think what's best for you is get out. Derek's face hardened. We're trying to help you, Alma. But if you're going to be difficult, we can do this the hard way. One phone call to Adult Protective Services. Tell them you're a danger to yourself. Dr. Patterson's report is already filed. You'll be in a state evaluation facility by tomorrow morning. The room tilted. I sat back down on the bed. That's better, Derek said. Now why don't we all calm down? Charlie will make some tea. We'll talk about next steps. Maybe it's time to look at some nice assisted living facilities. Somewhere you'll be safe. Somewhere professionals can take care of you. Charlie left to make tea. Derek stayed in the doorway, arms crossed, watching me like I was a prisoner who might try to escape. I looked at my phone. Martin Kowalski's number was in my contacts. George's best friend. Our attorney for 30 years. If I could just call him. But Derek was watching. And even if I called, what would I say? That my daughter stole my house? That my bank account was empty? Derek had already set up the narrative. Confused old woman, memory problems, erratic behavior. Who would they believe? I heard a sound outside. A car. I looked out the window. A black Mercedes was pulling into my driveway. 2 men got out. Big men. Expensive suits, but something off about them. Something dangerous. They walked up to the front door. The doorbell rang. Derek's face went white. "Stay here," he said to me, then ran downstairs. I heard the front door open, male voices low and angry. Then Derek. "Not here, not now. I told you I need more time. Time's up, Mills. Tuesday's the deadline. 85,000 or we take collateral. I said I'll have it. The house sale will go through." "What house sale? This house?" One of the men laughed. We checked the title. "This house belongs to Alma Rose Whitaker. You trying to sell property you don't own? It's in process. The transfer just went through. Give me 2 weeks. You got 3 days. Tuesday, Mills. Bring cash or we come collect." The door slammed. The Mercedes drove away. I heard Charlie downstairs. "Derek? Who was that?" "Nobody. Wrong house." But I'd heard every word. And suddenly this wasn't about protecting me. This was about $85,000 Derek needed to pay someone. Someone dangerous. This was about my house being worth $340,000. This was about my savings account being empty. I looked at my phone again. Martin's number glowed on the screen. My thumb hovered over it. Then I heard something else. A new sound. A notification on my email. Second mortgage application. Approved pending final signatures. Lender, First Trust Mortgage Company. Property, 847 Maple Street, Toledo, OH. Loan amount, $85,000. Borrower, Charlotte Mills. They weren't just stealing my house. They were using it to borrow money to pay Derek's debts. And I had 3 days before they finalized it. The nursing home brochures appeared on my nightstand Tuesday morning. I woke up at 6 a.m., like I had every day for 40 years. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Charlie had insisted on staying over Monday night, just to make sure you're okay, Mom. She was asleep in the guest room. Derek had gone home to check on Jasmine and Riley. Sunset Manor, premium senior living, starting at $6,500 per month. A yellow post-it note stuck to the top brochure. Tour scheduled 2 p.m. today. Derek will drive you. See. I peeled off the post-it, my hand steadier than yesterday. The anger was helping. Anger was better than fear. I'd spent all night thinking, remembering. 3 years ago, George had insisted we meet with Martin about estate planning. Just in case, he'd said. I remembered signing papers. A living trust. George had been adamant about it. "Alma," he'd said, holding my hand across Martin's desk, "Charlie is impulsive. This protects you." I'd thought he was being paranoid. Now I understood he'd been right. I heard movement downstairs. Voices. More than just Charlie. I put on my robe and made my way down, gripping the banister. My left leg was stronger today. Small victories. Diana was in my kitchen, making coffee like she owned the place. Tom sat at the table, reading something on his phone. Charlie stood by the window, arms crossed. "Morning, Alma," Diana said brightly. "I brought muffins, blueberry, your favorite." I didn't sit down. "What are you doing here?" "Charlie called us last night. She was worried about you." Diana poured coffee into George's mug. My mug. Honey, we need to talk about what's best for you. What's best for me is for everyone to leave my house. Tom finally looked up. Alma, please. We're family. We're trying to help. Help? I laughed, and it came out bitter. Like you helped when Mom and Dad died? When you tried to contest the will because they left me the house? Diana's smile froze. That was 40 years ago. I've moved past it. Have you? Because it sounds like you're finally getting what you wanted. That's not fair. Diana set down the coffee pot too hard. This isn't about the past. This is about you being sick and refusing to accept it. Charlie turned from the window. Mom, please sit down. We need to discuss the tour this afternoon. I'm not going to any nursing home. It's assisted living, Diana corrected. Very nice. We already looked at it. You'd have your own apartment? Meals included? Activities? I have my own house. Charlie's house, Tom said quietly. Legally. The room went silent. Even Diana looked uncomfortable. But there it was, the truth none of them wanted to say out loud. Aunt Alma? A small voice from the doorway. Jasmine, my oldest granddaughter, 16. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. Jasmine, sweetheart. I started toward her, but Charlie moved faster. Jazz, what are you doing here? I thought you had school. Teacher workday. Riley's still asleep at home. Jasmine looked at me, then at her mother. What's going on? Why is everyone here? We're just talking, Charlie said. About Grandma's health. Nothing for you to worry about. But Jasmine kept looking at me. Smart girl. She knew something was wrong. Jasmine, Derek appeared behind her, putting his hands on her shoulders. Let's let the adults talk. I'll drive you home. I can drive myself? I'd feel better if I drove you. His voice had that edge, the same edge from yesterday. Not quite a threat, not quite a request. Jasmine looked at me one more time, then left with her stepfather. The girls don't need to see you like this, Charlie said after they'd gone. Confused, agitated. It scares them. I'm not confused. You called me at 3 a.m. last night, Charlie said, crying, saying Dad was here, saying he was trying to tell you something. Do you remember that? I didn't, because it hadn't happened. The stroke did more damage than we thought, Diana said gently. Dr. Patterson explained it to us. The memory loss, the paranoia, the mood swings. It's all very common. I want to see Dr. Patterson myself. Of course, Charlie said. I'll call his office and make an appointment. But in the meantime, we need to make sure you're safe. The tour today is just to look. No pressure. Tom stood up. We should go. Let Charlie handle this. He kissed Diana's cheek, then paused by me. Alma, I know you're angry, but we really are trying to help. Think about what George would want. George. They were using George against me now. After they left, Charlie sat down at the table. Mom, I know you don't believe me, but I'm trying to protect you. After what happened with your accounts. What happened with my accounts is that someone stole $47,000 from me. You spent it, Mom. On home repairs. On helping us when Derek lost his job last year. On gifts for the girls. You don't remember because of the mini strokes you were having before the big one. Derek never lost his job. I'd never given them money for anything except Charlie's divorce lawyer in 2008. $8,500 I'd saved for 2 years. I want to see the bank records. Every withdrawal, every transaction. They're in the file. Charlie pointed to a folder on the counter. I brought copies. You can look through them. But Mom, it's all there. Your signature, your account, your decisions. I opened the folder. Pages and pages of transactions. Withdrawals ranging from $500 to $5,000. Dates going back 8 months. All with approved by account holder stamped on them. I didn't recognize any of it. I need to lie down, I said. That's a good idea. Rest before the tour. I went upstairs, folder in hand, locked my bedroom door, sat on the bed and really looked at the papers. The signatures looked like mine, but something was off. The A in Alma was too round. The W in Whitaker was too sharp. Close, very close, but not mine. I checked my phone. No messages, no missed calls. Charlie had said I'd called her at 3 a.m. There was no record of it in my call log. I opened my email again, scrolled through the marked as read messages from the bank. The IP addresses were listed at the bottom of each notification email. I didn't understand computers like young people did, but George had taught me basics. Every email had been accessed from an IP address that wasn't mine. Someone was reading my emails. Someone had access to my accounts. Someone had been planning this for months. A knock on my door. "Mom? It's almost 2, we should go." I looked at the brochures on my nightstand, at my phone, at the locked door. If I got in that car with Derek, would I come back? "Mom? I need to use the bathroom first," I called out. "Okay, I'll wait downstairs." I heard her footsteps retreat, pulled out my phone, typed a text to Martin Kowalski, George's friend, our lawyer. "Martin, I need help. Charlie transferred my house to her name. My accounts are empty. They're trying to put me in a home. Please call me. Alma." I hit send. Nothing happened. No little whoosh sound. No delivered notification. I checked my phone settings. No service. No Wi-Fi connection. The Wi-Fi had been working this morning. I went to the bedroom door, opened it slowly, listened. Charlie was downstairs, talking to someone. Diana's voice. They'd come back. "Can't keep refusing. We need her signature on the Sunset Manor paperwork by Friday. She won't sign willingly. Then Patterson needs to declare her incompetent. Tom can notarize it. We do this legally." "What about Martin? If he gets involved?" "He won't. Derek checked. Martin's in Florida for the month. His office said he's not taking calls. By the time he gets back, it'll be done." I closed the door silently, sat back down on the bed. Martin was gone. The Wi-Fi was off. My phone was useless. They'd thought of everything. I looked around my bedroom. George's reading glasses were still on his nightstand. His watch. His wedding ring, which I'd kept in a small box. And underneath it, his old cell phone. The one from 2018 that I'd never thrown away. I pulled it out, pressed the power button. Nothing, but the charger might still work. I dug through George's drawer. Found it. Plugged the phone in. A faint logo appeared on the screen. It was charging. "Mom!" Charlie's voice sharp now. "We're going to be late." "Coming." I hid George's phone under the mattress, checked the new locks on my doorknob that I'd noticed this morning. Charlie had installed them yesterday while I was sleeping. I could lock people out. But could I lock myself in? I opened the door. Charlie stood at the top of the stairs, keys in hand. "Ready?" "No." Her expression hardened. "Mom, we're going. You can walk downstairs yourself, or Derek can help you. Your choice." Derek appeared at the bottom of the stairs. Those same 2 men from yesterday were visible through the front window, sitting in their Mercedes across the street. Derek saw them too, his jaw clenched. "Time to go, Alma," he said. I didn't go to Sunset Manor. At the last minute, standing at the front door with Charlie's hand on my elbow and Derek's keys jingling, I collapsed. Not really collapsed, but my left leg gave out enough to make it believable. "Mom!" Charlie caught me. "Derek, help me get her to the couch." "She's faking," Derek muttered, but he helped anyway. They laid me on the living room sofa. Charlie called Dr. Patterson's emergency line. I closed my eyes and listened. Yes, she just fell. No, she's conscious, breathing normally, but she seems disoriented. Could it be another stroke? Okay, yes, I'll watch her. "No, I don't think the ER is necessary if you say so. Thank you, doctor." She hung up. "He says to let you rest. Monitor for symptoms. He'll come by tomorrow morning." "We're missing the tour," Derek said. "They'll reschedule." Charlie knelt beside me. "Mom, can you hear me?" I opened my eyes slowly. "Tired. I know. Just rest. We'll take care of everything." That's what I was afraid of. They put me to bed at 7 p.m. like a child. Charlie brought soup I didn't eat. Derek installed something on my bedroom door. I heard drilling. When they left, I tried the knob. It opened from the inside, but I heard a click. Some kind of alert system. They'd know if I left my room. I lay in the dark and waited. Around midnight, I heard them downstairs. The house had good bones, but the heating vents carried sound. If you knew where to listen, you could hear everything from the second floor to the first. George and I used to joke about it. "No secrets in this house," he'd say. I got out of bed quietly. pressed my ear to the vent near the floor. Derek's voice, angry. We sell at 340. Pay my debt. 85 grand. Keep the rest. We're clear. And my mother? Charlie's voice, tearful. Sunset Manor takes Medicaid after the first year. She'll be fine. She'll know we lied. She already knows. But who's going to believe her? Patterson's report says she's incompetent. Diana backs us up. Tom notarized everything. It's airtight. Silence. Then Charlie. Quieter. I hate this. You hate being broke more. Great Lakes is cutting agents. You haven't closed a sale in 8 months. We're 3 months behind on our mortgage. Those men you saw today? They're not playing games. Tuesday, Charlie. That's the deadline. Why did you borrow from them? Because the bank said no. Because your mother's house was sitting here, paid off, worth a fortune. Because we're her family, and we deserve something after everything we've done for her. More silence. Then a phone ringing. Diana's voice on speaker. It's done. I went to the county recorder's office today. Added my name as a co-beneficiary on the deed. Since I'm her sister, it was easy. Diana, that's not... Charlie started. Not what? Not fair? That house should have been half mine in 1985. Mom and Dad gave everything to Alma. I got $50,000 and a pat on the head. She got the house, the good china, all of Mom's jewelry. Well, now I'm getting what I'm owed. Did Tom help you? Derek asked. Tom doesn't know. He'd try to stop me. He's weak. If Alma finds out, Charlie said. She's not going to find out. And if she does, so what? Who's she going to tell? Martin's in Florida. She can't even work her cell phone properly. By the time anyone listens to her, it'll be too late. They hung up. I heard Derek leave. Charlie stayed, moving around downstairs, running water, closing cabinets. I sat on the floor by the vent, my hand pressed against the cold metal. My daughter, my sister, stealing from me together, and George had known. Somehow, he'd known this could happen. I remembered the day in 2016 when he'd insisted we go to Martin's office. I'd thought it was just routine estate planning, old people stuff. But George had been insistent. Alma, he'd said in the car on the way there, I need you to listen to me. Charlie is. She makes bad choices. With men. With money. I don't want her to have access to this house until we're both gone. Promise me you'll set up the trust. George, she's our daughter. I know. But sometimes the people we love most are the ones who hurt us worst. He'd made me promise. And we'd set up the trust. The house would go to Boys and Girls Club of Toledo after we both died. Charlie would get George's life insurance and my savings. That was it. But George died in 2019, and somewhere in the chaos of grief and funeral planning and learning to live alone, I'd forgotten about the trust. Had Charlie known? Had she found the papers and hidden them? A sound outside my window. Tapping. Soft. Rhythmic. I went to the window, pulled back the curtain. Jasmine stood in the backyard, phone flashlight on, pointing up at me. I opened the window carefully. Cold October air rushed in. Grandma, she whispered urgently. Come to the window. Jasmine, what are you doing here? I need to talk to you, but not in the house. Mom has cameras now. In the hallway. She doesn't think I know. Cameras, of course. What's going on? I whispered back. I heard them. Mom and Derek. Last week. There were men at our house, yelling at Derek about money. Mom was crying. Derek was saying they just needed a few more days, that your house would solve everything. My throat tightened. Jasmine. Riley and I are scared. Derek's been angry. He threw a glass at the wall yesterday. Mom keeps crying, and they keep talking about you like you're the problem. But you're not. You're not sick. You're not confused, are you? No, sweetheart, I'm not. I knew it. She looked relieved. I told Riley. She didn't believe me at first, but I recorded them. On my phone. Derek and these men. Do you want to hear it? Yes, but not now. It's not safe. They're watching. Watching what? A sound behind me. My bedroom door opening. Charlie stood there, backlit from the hallway. Mom, Who are you talking to? I turned back to the window, but Jasmine was gone, disappeared into the shadows. I thought I heard something outside, I said. Charlie came to the window, looked out. There's nothing there. Come back to bed. It's late. I can't sleep. Do you want me to get you something? Warm milk? Like I was 5 years old. I want my life back. Charlie flinched. For just a second, I saw my daughter again. The girl who used to braid my hair. The teenager who'd cried in my arms when her father didn't show up for her graduation. The young woman I'd given $8,500 to for a divorce lawyer. Mom, she said softly, I'm trying to help you. Are you? Or are you trying to help yourself? That's not fair. Isn't it? $47,000, Charlie. From my savings. Where did it go? I told you. Home repairs, gifts. You don't remember. Stop. Just stop. I sat down on the bed. I know about Derek's debt. I know about the men who came here. I know about the second mortgage you're trying to take out. And I know about Diana going to the county recorder. Her face went pale. How? The vents, Charlie. This house has thin walls and good vents. I've lived here for 40 years. I know every sound, every echo. She sat down next to me. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. We're desperate, she finally whispered. Derek made mistakes, bad investments, gambling. I didn't know until it was too late. They're going to hurt him, Mom. These people, they don't care about anything except their money. So you decided to steal mine. It's not stealing. You're my mother. This house will be mine eventually anyway. We're just accelerating the timeline. No. I looked at her. This house goes to charity. George set up a trust. This house was never going to be yours. The color drained from her face. What? 2016. We set up a living trust. Martin has the papers. The house goes to Boys and Girls Club when I die. You get the life insurance money. That's it. You're lying. Call Martin. Ask him. Martin's in Florida. Then wait until he gets back. But Charlie, whatever you signed, whatever documents you forged, they're worthless. You don't own this house. You never will. She stood up, shaking. You cut me out. Your own daughter. George cut you out because he knew. He knew you'd do something like this. She walked to the door, stopped. Derek can't know. If he finds out the house is in a trust, if he realizes this was all for nothing, that's not my problem. They'll kill him, Mom. The people he owes money to. They'll actually kill him. Then maybe he should have thought of that before he gambled it away. She left, slamming the door. I heard her crying in the hallway. Then footsteps. Running downstairs. The front door opening and closing. I went to the window again, whispered into the darkness. Jasmine, if you can hear me, I need your help. I need you to find a way to charge an old phone. And I need you to trust me. No response. Just the wind in the trees and the sound of Charlie's car starting in the driveway. I pulled George's old phone from under the mattress. The screen glowed dimly. 15% battery. It might be enough. I found Martin's number in the contacts. Hit call. It rang. Once, twice. Then a voice. You've reached Martin Kowalski. I'm out of the office until November 15th. For emergencies, I hung up. November 15th was 3 weeks away. I tried Eleanor, George's sister, my ally. Straight to voicemail. Eleanor, it's Alma. I need help. Charlie and Derek have taken over my house. My money. Everything. Please call me back on this number. It's George's old phone. I love you. I sat in the dark with a dying phone and no way out. But I had something they didn't know about. The trust. The proof that their whole plan was built on nothing. I just needed to stay alive long enough to use it. Eleanor arrived at 6:47 a.m. on Wednesday. I heard her car before I saw it. That old Buick with the loud muffler George always meant to fix. She laid on the horn twice, long and angry. I was already awake, dressed, waiting. George's phone was at 18% battery. Jasmine had slipped a portable charger through my window at 3 a.m. Bless her. Charlie came running out of the guest room. What the hell? We both went to the front window. Eleanor was getting out of her car and she wasn't alone. A man in a gray suit emerged from the passenger side. Tall, thin, silver hair. Martin Kowalski. My lawyer wasn't in Florida after all. Charlie grabbed her phone, dialing frantically. Derek, get over here, now. I walked to my bedroom, grabbed my purse, and came back downstairs. Charlie was blocking the front door. Mom, you're not going anywhere. Move, Charlie. Not until we talk about this. You called Eleanor. You turned her against me. The doorbell rang. Then Martin's voice, loud and clear. Mrs. Mills, this is Martin Kowalski, attorney at law. I'm here to see my client, Alma Rose Whitaker. You have 30 seconds to open this door, or I'll have Officer Patterson out here with a warrant. Officer Patterson, not Dr. Patterson. The police. Charlie's face went white. You called the cops? I called my lawyer. I pushed past her and opened the door. Eleanor swept in first, pulling me into a fierce hug. Oh, Alma, I'm so sorry. I was in surgery yesterday, phone off. When I finally heard your message, she glared at Charlie. What the hell have you done? Martin stepped in, setting a leather briefcase on the hall table. Mrs. Mills, I need to speak with my client privately. I suggest you stay present, as this concerns you directly. I don't have to listen to anything. Actually, you do. Martin's voice was ice. Unless you'd prefer to have this conversation at the county prosecutor's office, elder financial abuse is a felony in Ohio. So is forgery, so is fraud. The front door burst open. Derek, still in yesterday's clothes, unshaven. What's going on? Mr. Mills. Good. You're both here. Martin opened his briefcase. Saves me a trip. A knock at the door. Patricia Gomez, my neighbor, peeked in. Alma, I saw the cars. Is everything okay? Mrs. Gomez, perfect timing. Martin gestured her inside. You're on my witness list. Witness list? Derek's voice cracked. Patricia came in, arms crossed. I've been documenting everything. The locked doors. Those men who came threatening Derek last week. The county recorder van that showed up Monday. Charlie telling me Alma was having episodes, and I should call Adult Protective Services if I saw anything concerning. You were spying on us? Charlie said. I was protecting my friend. Patricia stood next to Eleanor. Alma's the most competent person I know. I've watched you gaslight her for weeks. Martin pulled out a folder. Let's begin. Mrs. Mills, on September 12, 2024, you filed a property transfer deed with Lucas County, claiming ownership of 847 Maple Street. Is that correct? My mother signed it willingly. Your mother was in ICU on September 12th, in a medically induced coma. I have hospital records. Here. He slid papers across the table. Attending physician's notes. Neurologist's report. She was unconscious. Charlie grabbed the papers. Her hands shook. The signature on the deed is forged, Martin continued. I've already retained a forensic document examiner. Her preliminary report indicates the signature was written by someone right-handed, attempting to mimic a left-handed person's writing. Your mother is left-handed. You, Mrs. Mills, are right-handed. This is insane. Furthermore, Martin pulled out more documents. In 2016, Mr. and Mrs. Whitaker established an irrevocable living trust. The property at 847 Maple Street was placed in that trust, with Boys and Girls Club of Toledo as the remainder beneficiary upon Mrs. Whitaker's death. Any attempt to transfer the property outside the trust is null and void. Derek lunged forward. That's not possible. We checked. There's no trust. You checked the county recorder's office. The trust is a private document, filed with the probate court. You didn't look there. Martin's smile was thin. Because you didn't know it existed. Derek turned on Charlie. You said this was clean. You said the house was hers free and clear. I thought it was... You thought wrong. Martin pulled out another folder. Now let's discuss the bank accounts. $47,000 withdrawn from Mrs. Whitaker's savings over 6 months. Would you like to explain that, Mrs. Mills? My mother authorized those withdrawals. Every single withdrawal was made from an IP address registered to your home internet connection. Every email notification was accessed from the same location. You had her passwords. She gave them to me. She didn't. I spoke for the first time. You took them. From the notebook in my desk drawer. The one where I write everything down because I'm old and I forget passwords. Charlie looked at me, tears streaming. Mom. And then there's the second mortgage. Martin laid out more papers. $85,000. Applied for Monday, using forged documentation. First Trust Mortgage flagged it Friday when I contacted them. They're cooperating with the investigation. Derek's face went purple. Investigation? The Lucas County Prosecutor's Office? Elder Abuse Division. Martin checked his watch. They'll be here at 9 a.m. to take statements. I suggest you both retain counsel. Wait. Derek held up his hands. We can fix this. Alma, look, we made mistakes, but we're family. We can work this out. I'll pay back the money. With what? Eleanor snapped. The money you owe those loan sharks? Derek froze. How do you? A car pulled up outside. Black Mercedes. The same two men from before. Derek saw them and went pale. Not now. Jesus Christ. Not now. One of the men got out, walked to the front door, knocked, hard. Martin opened it. Can I help you? Looking for Derek Mills. He here? I'm his attorney. Martin lied smoothly. Mr. Mills is currently in a meeting. If you'd like to schedule an appointment. No appointment. The man pushed past Martin. Mills, Tuesday was the deadline. Where's our money? Derek backed toward the kitchen. I told you, the house sale. What house sale? We checked the title this morning. Property belongs to Alma Rose Whitaker, held in trust. You can't sell it. You lied to us. I didn't know about the trust. That's your problem. The man cracked his knuckles. You got until Friday. Cash. Or we start taking collateral. Your car. Your wife's car. That pretty real estate office your wife works at. He left. The Mercedes drove away. The room was silent. Charlie sank into a chair, face in her hands. Oh, God. Oh, God. Derek grabbed her arm. This is your fault. You said the house was clear. You said your mother was incompetent. You said this would work. Don't touch her. Eleanor moved between them. Derek let go, turning on Martin instead. You think you're so smart? You've got nothing. Charlie made mistakes. Fine. But I didn't forge anything. You can't prove I knew about the trust. Actually, a small voice from the doorway. Jasmine, holding her phone. I can prove it. Everyone turned. Jasmine, go to school, Derek said. No. She walked in, Riley behind her. I recorded you. Last Tuesday. You and those men. And you and Mom, arguing about Grandma's house. You said, I don't care about some trust. We forge what we need to forge. The old woman's not going to remember. She hit play. Derek's voice filled the room, crystal clear. I don't care about some trust. We forge what we need to forge. Derek's face crumbled. You recorded me? Your own father? Stepfather, Jasmine corrected. And yeah, because you were stealing from Grandma. Charlie stood, reaching for her daughter. Jazz, honey, don't. Jasmine stepped back. You let him do this. You went along with it. You lied to us. You said Grandma was sick. That we couldn't visit because she might say bad things. But she's not sick. You are. Riley started crying. I want to stay with Grandma. You can't, Charlie started. Yes, they can, I said. Martin, can they stay with me? Given the circumstances, temporary guardianship is absolutely appropriate. Derek laughed. A bitter, broken sound. This is perfect. Just perfect. We're broke. We're going to prison, and you're taking our kids. You took everything from me first, I said quietly. Charlie's phone rang. She looked at the screen, answered. Hello? Yes, this is Charlotte Mills. What? When? No, that can't. She hung up, face ashen. I'm fired. Great Lakes just terminated me. Effective immediately. Welcome to consequences, Eleanor said coldly. Martin checked his watch. The prosecutors will be here in 15 minutes. Mr. and Mrs. Mills, I strongly suggest you say nothing without legal representation. Derek grabbed his keys. I'm leaving. You leave this house, you're a flight risk, Martin said. I'll have a warrant out in an hour. Derek sank onto the couch, head in his hands. I looked at Charlie, my daughter, the girl I'd raised, the woman who'd tried to steal everything. Why? I asked. Just tell me why. She looked up, mascara running. Because I was drowning, and you had a life raft. And I was raised to believe family helps family. But I guess that only goes one way. The Lucas County Prosecutor's Office was smaller than I expected. We sat in a conference room on the 3rd floor. Me, Eleanor, Martin, Charlie, Derek, and 2 lawyers they'd hired that morning. Across the table sat prosecutor Helen Morrison, a woman in her 50s with steel-gray hair and sharp eyes. "Let's establish the facts," Morrison said, opening a file. September 12, 2024. Mrs. Whitaker was admitted to Toledo Hospital ICU following a severe stroke, correct? Correct, Martin said. On that same date, a property transfer deed was filed with Lucas County Recorder, transferring 847 Maple Street from Alma Rose Whitaker to Charlotte Mills. A deed bearing Mrs. Whitaker's signature. "A forged signature," Martin interjected. Morrison nodded. "We'll get to that." Between March and September 2024, $47,000 was withdrawn from Mrs. Whitaker's savings account in increments ranging from $500 to $5,000. All withdrawals were approved electronically from an IP address registered to, she checked her notes, the Mills residence on Birchwood Drive. Charlie's lawyer, a nervous young man named Stevens, cleared his throat. "My client maintains she had verbal permission. Mrs. Whitaker was lucid during that period?" Morrison asked me directly. "Completely," I said. "I never gave permission for any withdrawals." On October 28th, a second mortgage application for $85,000 was submitted to First Trust Mortgage, using the property at 847 Maple Street as collateral. The application contained forged documentation and signatures. Derek's lawyer, an older woman named Reynolds, spoke up. "My client denies any knowledge of the second mortgage application." "Really?" Morrison pulled out papers. "Because the application was submitted from Mr. Mills's work computer at Toledo Home Loans. We have the digital forensics report. Would you like to see it?" Reynolds went pale. Derek leaned over and whispered something urgent in her ear. Morrison continued. "We also have recordings provided by Jasmine Mills, age 16, of conversations between her stepfather and," she consulted her notes, "two individuals identified as Leonard Costello and Marcus Wright, known associates of an unlicensed lending operation currently under investigation. Those recordings were obtained without consent," Reynolds objected. "Ohio is a one-party consent state for recordings, but a minor can record conversations she's party to or conversations occurring in her own home." Morrison cut her off. "The recordings are admissible." She hit play on a laptop. Derek's voice filled the room. "I don't care about some trust. We forge what we need to forge. The old woman's not going to remember. Patterson already filed the incompetency report." "Patterson?" Morrison stopped the recording. "That's Dr. Robert Patterson, Mrs. Whitaker's neurologist?" "Yes," I said. "Did Dr. Patterson file an incompetency report?" Martin pulled out papers. "He did not. However, someone did call his office 6 weeks ago requesting Mrs. Whitaker's medical records, claiming to be family handling estate matters. The office released a summary to the caller." "Who made that call?" Morrison asked. Martin looked at Charlie. "Mrs. Mills, according to the phone records subpoenaed from Dr. Patterson's office." Charlie's lawyer started to speak, but she cut him off. "I called. I needed to know how serious Mom's condition was. And then you used that information to build a narrative of incompetency," Morrison said, "despite no official diagnosis. Despite no medical evaluation beyond the stroke recovery protocol. I was trying to help. You were trying to steal." Morrison's voice was hard. "Let's call it what it is." The door opened. A police officer leaned in. "Ma'am, the other parties are here. Send them in." Diana and Tom walked in, Diana's face tight with anger. "What is this about? We were told to come to the prosecutor's office for questioning about Alma." She stopped when she saw all of us. "Mrs. Chen, Mr. Chen, thank you for coming." Morrison gestured to chairs. "Please sit." "We don't have to answer anything without a lawyer," Diana said. "You're not under arrest, yet, but you're welcome to call counsel." Morrison waited. Tom sat down heavily. Diana remained standing, arms crossed. "Mrs. Chen, on October 23rd, you visited the Lucas County Recorder's office and attempted to add your name as a co-beneficiary on the deed for 847 Maple Street. Is that correct?" "That house should have been half mine." "That's not what I asked. Did you or did you not attempt to alter the property deed?" Diana's jaw tightened. "I have a right to what my parents left me." Your parents left the house solely to Mrs. Whitaker in their 1985 will. You received $50,000. The will is on file. Would you like me to read it aloud? That was 40 years ago, and yet you attempted to retroactively claim ownership in 2024. Morrison pulled out more documents. You also made several phone calls to Mrs. Mills, encouraging the property transfer. We have phone records. I was supporting my niece. You were conspiring to defraud your sister. Morrison's voice was flat. Mr. Chen, did you notarize any documents related to this matter? Tom looked miserable. Diana asked me to notarize some papers, power of attorney documents. She said Alma had asked for them. Did you witness Mrs. Whitaker sign those documents? No. Diana said Alma had already signed them. Then you committed notary fraud. Morrison made a note. Notarizing a document you didn't witness being signed is a 4th-degree felony in Ohio. Tom's face went gray. I didn't know. You're an accountant, Mr. Chen. You know exactly what notary requirements are. Diana grabbed Tom's arm. Don't say anything else. We're leaving. Sit down, Mrs. Chen. Morrison's voice cut like glass. Unless you'd like me to add obstruction to the charges I'm considering. Diana sat. Morrison looked at each of them in turn. Here's where we are. Mrs. Mills, you're facing charges of elder financial abuse, forgery, fraud, and conspiracy. That's a potential 10 years in prison. Mr. Mills, same charges, plus the loan shark situation adds money laundering and racketeering implications. That's 15 to 20 years federal time. Derek made a choking sound. Mrs. Chen, you're looking at conspiracy, attempted fraud, and being an accessory after the fact. 3 to 5 years. Mr. Chen, notary fraud and being an accessory. 2 to 3 years. The room was silent, except for Charlie's quiet crying. However, Morrison leaned back. The state has limited resources. We prioritize cases based on severity and victim cooperation. Mrs. Whitaker, what outcome do you want here? Everyone looked at me. My daughter, mascara-stained and broken. My sister, bitter and defiant. Derek, cornered and desperate. Tom, weak and complicit. I want my house back, I said. I want my money back. And I want my granddaughters safe. That's reasonable. Mrs. Mills, Mr. Mills, I'm prepared to offer a plea agreement. Mrs. Mills, you cooperate fully. Testify against Mr. Mills if necessary. Return all funds and accept 3 years supervised probation with 500 hours community service. You'll lose your real estate license permanently, but no jail time if you comply fully. Charlie looked up, hopeful. Mr. Mills, you're the primary orchestrator here. The gambling debts, the loan sharks, the forged documents, it all points to you. I'll offer 18 months county jail, 5 years probation, and full restitution. Or we go to trial and you risk 20 years federal. Derek's lawyer whispered urgently to him. Mrs. Chen? Morrison continued. 2 years probation, 300 hours community service, $5,000 restitution. Mr. Chen, same terms, but no restitution since you weren't a financial beneficiary. And if we don't accept? Diana asked. Then I file charges today and we see you in court, where a jury will hear how you conspired to steal from your elderly sister recovering from a stroke. Morrison smiled coldly. How do you think that plays in Toledo? Diana looked at Tom. He nodded miserably. We'll take the deal. Mrs. Mills? Morrison asked. Charlie looked at me. Mom, I'm so sorry. I was desperate. Derek's debts, my job, the girls' college funds. Everything was falling apart. I thought if I just had the house, I could sell it, pay off everything, start over. I never meant to hurt you. But you did hurt me, I said quietly. You stole from me. You lied to my face. You tried to put me in a home. You manipulated your own daughters. I know. She was sobbing now. I'll take the deal. I'll do whatever you want. Just please don't hate me. Derek? Morrison prompted. He sat silent for a long moment, then suddenly exploded. This is all her fault. He pointed at Charlie. She's the one who said her mother was rich. She's the one who found out about the house value. She planned the whole thing. Derek, Reynolds tried to stop him. No, I'm not going to prison for her. She forged the signatures. She drained the bank accounts. I just helped with the second mortgage application. That's it. Charlie's face went white. You're lying. You made me do it. You said those men would kill you. I said they'd hurt me. Big difference. You're the one who decided stealing from your mother was the solution. You said we had no choice. I gave you options. You chose this one. Morrison watched them turn on each other with clinical detachment. Mr. Mills, are you saying you'd like to testify against Mrs. Mills in exchange for a reduced sentence? Derek's lawyer grabbed his arm. Don't answer that. But Derek was past listening. Yes, I'll testify. I'll tell you everything. Just keep me out of prison. Charlie stood up so fast her chair fell backward. You bastard. You absolute bastard. Takes one to know one, Derek shot back. Jasmine and Riley burst through the door, both crying. They must have been waiting outside. Don't do this, Jasmine shouted at Derek. Don't blame Mom for everything. We heard you. We recorded you. You said you'd hurt Grandma if she didn't cooperate. Morrison's eyebrows rose. You have more recordings? Riley nodded, pulling out her phone. From last week, when Derek was talking to those scary men. She hit play. Derek's voice, slurred with alcohol. If the old bitch doesn't sign, we'll make it look like she fell again. Another stroke. Who's going to question it? The room went dead silent. Derek lunged at Riley, trying to grab the phone. The police officer was faster, restraining him. That's enough, Mr. Mills. Morrison stood. Change of terms. Mr. Mills, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit elder abuse with intent to harm. No plea deal. 6 months later, the house on Maple Street smelled like lemon polish and fresh paint. I stood in the doorway of what used to be the guest room, watching Riley put the finishing touches on a mural. Butterflies and flowers covered one wall, each petal painted with surprising detail for a 15-year-old. What do you think, Grandma? She asked, stepping back. I think it's perfect. My art studio. George's reading chair sat by the window, reupholstered in soft blue. My easel stood ready, a blank canvas waiting. Shelves held supplies, paints, brushes, clay for the pottery wheel Martin had helped me buy. At 78 years old, I was finally doing something just for me. Grandma, Mom's here, Jasmine called from downstairs. Tuesday afternoon, visiting day. I found Charlie in the kitchen, setting a store-bought pie on the counter. She looked different, thinner, gray roots showing in her blonde hair, the Kroger cashier vest still on from her shift. Hi, Mom. She didn't try to hug me anymore. We were past that. Charlie, how was work? Fine. Busy. She folded the vest carefully, set it on a chair. I brought apple pie. I know it's not as good as yours, but it's thoughtful. Thank you. We sat at the table, the same one where I'd found those papers 6 months ago. The deed was back in my name now. The trust was reinforced, ironclad. Martin had made sure of that. How's the community service? I asked. Good, actually. I'm teaching financial literacy at the senior center, helping people understand predatory lending, how to protect their assets. She smiled bitterly. Turns out I'm qualified. That's important work. Yeah. She looked at her hands. I met a woman last week, 73. Her son stole her entire retirement, $200,000. She's living in her car now. What did you tell her? To get a lawyer, to file charges. That family doesn't excuse theft. Charlie's voice cracked. I told her she deserved better. We sat in silence. The kitchen clock ticked. George's clock, the one he'd wound every Sunday. Derek's sentencing is next week, Charlie said finally. I know. They're saying 5 years, maybe more because of the recordings. She took a shaky breath. The girls won't talk to him. He writes letters. They throw them away. That's their choice. I know. She stopped. I'm not defending him. I just feel like I ruined everything. Our marriage, my relationship with you, the girls' trust, everything. You made choices, Charlie. Bad ones. But you're owning them now. Am I? Some days I feel like I'm just going through the motions. Probation meetings, therapy, community service, smile at customers at Kroger, come visit my mother who I tried to rob, pretend everything's fine. It's not pretending if you're actually doing the work. She looked up at me, eyes wet. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? I thought about that. Really thought about it. I don't know, I said honestly. Some days I look at you and I see my daughter. Other days I see the woman who laughed when I found those papers, who drained my bank account. Who was going to put me in a home and steal everything George and I built? Charlie nodded, wiping her eyes. That's fair. But, I continued, I see you trying. I see you showing up every Tuesday, even though it's hard. I see you letting the girls live with me without fighting for custody. I see you in therapy. I see you working at Kroger without complaint, even though you used to sell $500,000 houses. $14 an hour, she whispered. I made that in 15 minutes before. And now you know what it's like for most people. Maybe that's not a bad lesson. Jasmine and Riley came downstairs, homework done. They kissed Charlie hello, but sat next to me. The message was clear. Grandma's house. Grandma's rules. Grandma's side. Charlie noticed. I saw the hurt flash across her face, but she didn't comment. How's school? She asked Riley. Good. I got an A on my history project. That's wonderful, honey. And I'm applying to art programs for next year. Grandma's helping me with my portfolio. That's great. Charlie's smile was genuine, if sad. Your grandma was always the creative one in the family. We ate pie, made small talk. Charlie told stories about difficult customers at Kroger. Jasmine talked about college applications. Riley showed sketches from her art class. At 4 o'clock, Charlie stood to leave. Same time next week? Same time, I confirmed. She paused at the door. Mom, thank you for letting me see them, for not completely shutting me out. I know I don't deserve it. No, I agreed. You don't, but they deserve a mother who's trying to be better. So I'm giving you the chance to become that person. After she left, Eleanor arrived with groceries and gossip. Diana had moved to Florida with Tom after their probation ended. Tom had filed for divorce last month. Good riddance, Eleanor said, unpacking milk and eggs. That woman poisoned every family gathering for 40 years. She was jealous, I said, of a house and some china. She was greedy. There's a difference. Eleanor pulled out her phone. Oh, speaking of consequences, you'll appreciate this. Derek's truck was repossessed last week, and his mortgage brokerage office shut down by the state. Federal investigation into his whole operation. I should have felt satisfaction. Instead, I just felt tired. He brought it on himself, Eleanor continued. The gambling, the loan sharks, dragging Charlie into his mess. At least she's trying to fix things. He's still playing victim. That evening, I sat in my new studio, mixing paints. George's photo watched from the shelf. Him at 40, strong and smiling, holding a hammer in front of this very house. You knew, I said to the photo. Somehow you knew she'd try this. That's why you insisted on the trust. The photo didn't answer, but I felt his presence anyway. In this house he'd loved, in the chair he'd built, in the careful planning that had saved me. Sunday came, Easter. I'd invited people for lunch. Eleanor arrived first, bringing ham. Patricia came with homemade rolls. Martin and his wife brought wine. Jasmine and Riley set the table, the good china that Diana had always coveted. The doorbell rang at noon. I opened it. Charlie stood on the porch holding tulips. You said I could come if I wanted. I did. I wasn't sure you meant it. I meant it. I took the flowers. Come in. She hesitated at the threshold. The last time she'd crossed it uninvited, she'd been planning to steal everything. Now she waited for permission. Come in, Charlie. Lunch was good. Awkward at first, but good. Charlie was quiet, sitting at the far end of the table, but she was there. Riley showed her the studio. Jasmine talked about college plans. Martin pulled me aside while we cleaned up. You're being very gracious. I'm being strategic, I corrected. The girls need their mother. Not the person she was, but the person she might become. I'm giving her space to grow into that. And if she doesn't? Then the trust is ironclad, the girls are protected, and I've lost nothing I haven't already lost. I handed him a dish to dry. George taught me that. Protect what's yours. Forgive when you can, but never forget who stood by you. Wise man. Yes, he was. As everyone left, Charlie lingered. Mom? Can I say something? Of course. I know I can't fix what I did. I know sorry isn't enough. But I want you to know I'm trying. Every day I wake up and I try to be better than the person who hurt you. Some days I fail, but I keep trying. That's all I can ask. She nodded, started to leave, then turned back. I love you. Even though I have no right to say it anymore. I love you. I know, I said. I love you too, but love and trust are different things. You're earning one back, the other. We'll see. After she left, I walked through my house. My house, every room cleaned, every corner mine again. Jasmine's backpack on the couch, Riley's art supplies on the dining room table, life and noise and family. Different family than before. Smaller. Harder won, but mine. I stopped at George's photo. We did it, I told him. We protected what was ours. And maybe, just maybe, we saved something else too. In the kitchen, a new frame hung on the wall. A photo from this afternoon. Me in the center, Jasmine and Riley on either side. Eleanor and Patricia behind us. Martin grinning at the edge of the frame. And Charlie. Standing slightly apart, but in the picture. Part of the family. On probation in more ways than one. Below it, a small brass plaque Martin had made. The Whitaker Home, Esther, 1984. Protected 2024. Built on love, defended by law, preserved by truth. I touched it once, then turned off the lights and went upstairs to my bedroom. Tomorrow I'd start painting. Tomorrow Jasmine had a college interview. Tomorrow Riley had art class. Tomorrow Charlie would wake up and keep trying to be better. Tomorrow would be another chance. But tonight, I slept in my own house, in my own bed, with my own life back. And that was enough.